I have a conversation with the director and the producers, and I have an idea of how, and the writer as well, if he's alive, how they envision the piece. And it's my job to service them and to add to their vision creatively. So I will find through discussion uh, how they see each character, and I will then try to think of and make lists about and bring people in to pre-screen who I think might be right for each role. And I'll also do a breakdown, character qualities, and send that through breakdown services to all the agents and managers. If it's a New York play and I know that we have to have a New York hire, I'll release that in New York. If it's a film and there's some money, I'll release it in Los Angeles and sometimes Chicago as well. And I'll get the agent's ideas and input as well. Plus, I go through lists of people that I've seen and look back at my ideas for different things I've done and try to cull those people that I feel it would be right for each role. I think that everyone is unique and every one of us is subjective in some way. I have a certain taste and you would have a certain taste. We all are different. So people that I might come up with might be different than someone, a colleague of mine, might come up with. And that's why the relationship that I would have with my director is different than the relationship a colleague of mine would have maybe with the same director. And I think I'm hired because of that relationship or that rapport I have with the director or producer, etc., that hire me, and my thoughts. When I get hired, very often I have a meeting and we talk about where I see certain people and how I look at the characters in relationship to the piece, and I'm sure that my colleagues do the same thing. And they choose one of us. It's sort of like an actor getting a job. If it's someone I've worked with before, we have a shorthand. And for instance, this is the third thing I've done with Michael Cuesta, and we have a shorthand. I know what he likes, and he respects my taste. So it's been a joy because it's been a collaborative process. My job is to put everybody in place. For in the theater, especially, what happens is I negotiate, make the offers at the end of the casting period, and then I go to what we call a meet and greet, which is all the people get together the first day of rehearsal, and we all get introduced to each other, and the set designer shows his set and talks about it, and the costume designer shows the costume sketches and talks about it, and there's a table read, and I hear the play totally for the first time from beginning to end, and then I come back to the office and start working on something else, and the next time I see the play is opening night. The same thing with a film, really, because, sometimes you're working and filling in a film as the film is shooting, but when that work is done, you're not there. I can go to a set and see it for the day, but I'm not part of the process of making the movie in that sense. Well, you see the growth of the piece. I kind of, in the beginning, when you see that meet, you kind of know where the actors are going to go. And what's interesting is when it's put on its feet, how it's directed and how involved it can get to be. But I guess what happens is you fall in love with each actor for each part. So I don't see the faults. It's like working on something. It becomes a labor of love. You can't be objective about it. At least I can't. I never go and say, it was terrible. I'm a more positive person than that.